Hello everyone, welcome to Quiz with Sanvika. Here in this video, you have to guess the person name who did first. So let's get started. Who was the first astronaut to set foot on the moon? Options are A. Edwin Aldrin, B. Neil Armstrong, and C. David Scott.
Answer is B. Neil Armstrong.
On July 20, 1969, Neil Armstrong became the first human to step on the moon. Who was the first man to swim across the English Channel? Options are A. Henry Sullivan, B. Bill Burgess, and C. Matthew Webb.
Answer is C. Matthew Webb.
On August 1875, Captain Matthew Webb of Great Britain becomes the first known person to successfully swim the English Channel, that is England to France. Who was the first person to reach the South Pole? Options are A. Roald Amundsen, B. Robert Falcon Scott, and C. Lower Rudd.
Answer is A. Roald Amundsen.
Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen's Polar Party was the first to reach the South Pole on December 14, 1911. Who was the first conqueror of world's tallest mountain Everest with Edmund Hillary? Options are A. Pasang Sherpa, B. Kamirita Sherpa, and C. Tenzing Norgay.
Answer is Tenzing Norgay.
On 29 May 1953, Hillary and Sherpa mountaineer Tenzing Norgay became the first climbers confirmed to have reached the summit of Mount Everest. Who was the first person to receive first ever gold medal in the modern Olympic? Options are A. James Drayton Connolly, B. Edwin Flack, and C. Paul Newman.
Answer is James Drayton Connolly.
On 6 April 1896, Connolly won the triple jump, which was then known as the hop-skip jump. This made him the first Olympic champion. Who was the first astronaut to go into space? Options are A. Henry Sullivan, B. Bill Burgess, and C. Yuri Gagarin.
Answer is C. Yuri Gagarin.
Yuri Alexeyevich Gagarin was a Soviet pilot and cosmonaut who became the first human to journey into outer space. Traveling in the Vostok 1 capsule, Gagarin completed one orbit of the Earth on 12 April 1961. Who was the first person along with Jacques Piccard to descend the Challenger Deep in Mariana Trench? Options are A. Don Walls, B. James Cameron, and C. Victor Vescovo.
Answer is A. Don Walls.
In 1960, Don Walls and Jacques Piccard were the first two humans to reach to the deepest part of ocean Challenger Deep in the Mariana Trench. Who was the first person to reach the North Pole? Options are A. Robert Peary, B. Roald Amundsen, and C. Louis Rudd.
is A. Robert Peary.
Admiral Robert E. Peary was an American Navy officer and explorer who made several expeditions to the Arctic. He is credited with substantial justification for being, on April 6, 1909, the first person to reach the North Pole. Who was the first person to sail around the world? Options are A. Vasco da Gama, B. Magellan, and C. Marco Polo.
Answer is B. Magellan.
The Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan is often credited as being the first person to have circumnavigated the globe. Who was the first Governor General of the United Nations? Options are A. Tocqueville, B. Robert Walpole, and C. Richard Nixon.
Answer is A. Tocqueville.
Norwegian politician Tocqueville was the first Secretary General of the United Nations from 1946 to 1952. Who was the first woman to summit world highest peak Mount Everest? Options are A. Phang Thok, B. Sharon Oates, and C. Junko Tabei.
Answer is C. Junko Tabei.
Japanese mountaineer Junko Tabei was the first woman to summit Mount Everest, the highest peak in the world, in 1975. Who was the first woman to reach the deepest point of the Mariana Trench? Options are A. Sylvia Yearly, B. Mary Thorpe, and C. Catherine Sullivan.
Answer is C. Catherine Sullivan.
On June 7, 2020, Sullivan became the first woman to dive into the Challenger Deep in the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of Earth's oceans. Who was the first president of United States of America? Options are A. John Adams, B. George Washington, and C. Thomas Jefferson.
Answer is B. George Washington.
On April 30, 1789, George Washington took his oath of office as the first president of the United States. Who was the first woman president of UN General Assembly? Options are A. Margaret Thatcher, B. Eleanor Roosevelt, and C. Vijay Lakshmi Pandit.
Answer is C. Vijay Lakshmi Pandit.
Vijay Lakshmi Pandit served as the 8th President of the United Nations General Assembly for 1953 to 1954, the first woman appointed to either post. Who was the first woman cosmonaut of the world? Options are A. Valentina Tereshkova, B. Peggy Whitson, and C. Sally Ride.
Answer is Valentina Tereshkova.
Valentina Tereshkova is known for being the first and youngest woman in space, having flown a solo mission on the Vostok 6 on 16 June 1963. Who was the first blind person to reach the summit of Mount Everest? Options are A. Eric Weimer, B. Rob Hall, and C. Santoshi Tamura.
swimmer?
On May 25, 2001, Weimar became the first blind person to reach the summit of Mount Everest. Who was the first female Prime Minister of a country? Options are A. Indira Gandhi, B. Sirimava Bandaranaike, and C. Benazir Bhutto.
Answer is B. Sirimava Bandaranaike.
Sri Lankan politician Sirimava Bandaranaike was the world's first female Prime Minister when she became the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka in 1960. Who was the first human to walk in space? Options are A. Alexei Leonov, B. Raoul, and C. Yuri Gagarin.
Answer is A. Alexei Leonov.
On March 18, 1965, cosmonaut Alexei Leonov rocketed into Earth orbit and exited his spacecraft, becoming the first man to walk in space. He floated for an exhilarating 10 minutes. Who was the first person to cross Antarctica Circle? Options are A. Ben Saunders, B. Edward Wilson, and C. James Cook.
Answer is C. James Cook.
In January 1773, British explorer James Cook becomes the first recorded navigator to cross the Antarctic Circle. Who was the first woman to win Olympic gold medal? Options are A. Charlotte Cooper, B. Betty Robinson, and C. Helen Stephens.
Answer is A. Charlotte Cooper.
In Paris, on 11 July 1900, Charlotte Cooper became the first female Olympic tennis champion as well as the first individual female Olympic champion.